Oh, hi, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Comedy Cellar Tuesdays with me, Dave Juskow. I'm looking in that one. How are you? Nice to see everybody. It is freezing outside in New York City today. I'm talking about maybe 12 degrees, a little wind chill action. It could be no degrees whatsoever. But we are here in the cozy studios above the Comedy Cellar. And the Comedy Cellar, remember, greatest place to see comedy, the greatest comedy club in the country. If you were to indeed be in the West Village in New York City tonight, and let me tell you, it is lonely out there. There are not a lot of people walking around. You know what's weird? It's like white out there because there's all this stuff they put on because they knew it was going to snow and it's flying all over there. It's a very strange evening. But if you were to come down, because we're always open 365 days of the year, at the 9:35 show tonight at the Fat Black Pussycat Bar, you'd be able to see a show that included Judy Gold, Ryan Hamilton, and Pete Lee, all homosexuals on the same show. Thank you so much. I'm here all week. But and in Vegas, our Vegas room with the great Mark Coco Cohen, we have Eric Newman, Greer Barnes, and our pal Little Danny Natterman. So that's the place to be, the Comedy Cellar, either Vegas or here. But tonight, we haven't been here in a month since our last incredible show with David Tell and Russ and my guest tonight, Mr. Nick Griffin. Hello,
Great
everybody.
To be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back.
And reminding me.
I didn't want to. I messed up last time. You told me to remind you. I might have reminded you at 10 or said something, but maybe it wasn't a true reminder.
It wasn't yeah.
So, but it all worked out, and I'm glad you came tonight. Again, we're doing the same thing. We're here for your birthday. Now we're here for Attell's birthday, and then next month we'll be here for Russ's birthday. You have to.
Russ is February.
Yeah, it's mine that throws the monkey wrench into the works.
What is it?
August.
Ugh.
Then we take a break. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. I look forward to it, and I don't look forward to it because when it's his birthday, everything's so rushed.
Yeah, it's very tense.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, we'll order now. You know, like Russ and I always like to have maybe a drink.
What are we waiting for?
Yeah, we I can order a lot of apps, guys. What do you want? It's really it's tense. It's tense, and we don't think he wants to be there. And hi, Vinafid. What? How would you pronounce that one? Hi, Marcy. Hi, Anonymous. Anonymous said, "Hey, Nick, thanks for waking up, getting out of bed, and showing up."
Oh, I think that's sarcastic.
Yes. Hi, a week late, and everybody. It's so nice to see everybody. What did Marcy say? It was what, 6 degrees in Kentucky?
6 degrees where she's at.
6 degrees.
Don't dox her.
It's going to be that way tomorrow here. And that's why you're from.
Oh, it gets colder tomorrow?
Yeah, it gets colder tomorrow. You're from Kansas, right? You're rooting for
I am.
the
I'm
Chiefs.
from the state of Kansas. Yeah, that's right in the middle.
Kansas seems to be the coldest place ever.
Well, I mean, I would go up north of Kansas, but
well, why is Kansas always so cold? Like whenever the Chiefs
cold,
are playing, it's always so cold.
Yeah, because I think it favors the Chiefs, so the gods are looking down upon them.
Which they clearly are. Because if they pull off the three-peat, that'll be the first time ever.
Or even get into the
JWB said you put on a collared shirt tonight.
Yeah, I did for Dave's birthday.
I know I was going to, but it's just too cold. I had to wear something warm. I get too cold. I'm an old man now. I get cold all the time. You know.
Yeah.
I usually wear just like a fleece thing. I don't know. I just put this on today, and I normally would have dressed up. So, Aunt Judy. Hello, Aunt Judy. Did you get my text with Aunt Eileen and Uncle Ron? I was wondering if you saw the.
Is that really your Aunt Judy?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've known her for a long time.
I would think so. Yeah.
I was born. It's my dad's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's nice when she's
They follow
here.
your career pretty closely.
Oh, yes. Yes, they do. I believe this is the first time it snowed in 2 or more cities at the same time in Florida. Yeah. Well, let's face it. The weather is kind of a mess. Hi, Haley. Haley's from London. Who's the guy from London? I forget which. Is it
Scruffy's from Manchester.
Scruffy's from Manchester, Haley. We do actually have a London Scruffy. It's not Scruffy Duffy. That's the place I like to go to have wings. It's what's his name?
Scruffington?
That's what we call him, yeah. I think Anon gave him that nickname, but yes.
Well, yeah. So, but Haley, thank you so much for joining today. Yeah, she's the best. The best. I just got to meet her, and we hit it off really great. I love when she comes to town, and I'm so glad you were able to watch today. So, just a couple things before we get to the fun stuff, because I got some
housekeeping
stuff, I suppose some Oh wait, it really is short for Scruffington? I thought you were kidding.
Well, he goes by Scruffy Bones on here.
Oh, Scruffy Bones. That's what
But
it
it's
is.
short for Scruffington.
No, I just thought. Did you watch the inauguration yesterday?
I didn't see 1 minute of it.
Because you were sleeping, or
I
because you
was
didn't
working,
want to,
and
or
I currently don't have a TV, so I just whatever like sports and stuff I'll watch on my computer. But
really?
and then I had an early show with Colin last night.
Right. You always have that on Mondays, right?
Mondays, yeah.
Every Monday.
Colin.
Every Monday, right here. You open
At
for Colin
the,
at the Fat Black
Pussycat
at 7?
Lounge, yeah.
7:00 every Monday. You can catch Colin Quinn here, and Nick is always working with him every Monday, which is awesome. Makes me very happy. Yeah, I slept until 1 yesterday. I couldn't have been more pleased. And then I was like, oh right, I forgot it was on. So I missed a lot of it. And,
What time was the inauguration exactly?
Must have been at like 10 or 11 in the morning, I
Oh,
guess.
wow.
I know they moved it inside because it was so
There were a
cold.
bunch of comics there.
Like who? I know.
Theo Vaughn was there. Joe Rogan was there.
Well, that makes sense.
From
Oh wait, he was the guy that fell out of his chair? I read about that.
There's a funny video.
Oh yes,
Oh.
there is. Yeah, he fell out of his chair. His chair broke,
yeah.
and he's not a big guy, right? Just a horrible coincidence that would normally happen to me if I was there. But yeah, it's really interesting. It's so the worst part is that Mayor Adams went there.
Right.
He was supposed to do all this MLK Day stuff here, and then he got a last minute invitation, like at 5 a.m, to go down to DC and be part of the inauguration. And he went because we all believe he's looking for a pardon for the horrible things he's done here in this big city. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are I have very few thoughts. And that's not just politics. I mean, in general, that's why I'm a good podcast guest.
You have incredible hair. You know that?
Yeah,
Really
thanks,
incredible
buddy.
hair. What's that? Oh, is this him falling?
Yeah.
Oh, oh no.
Fell to Logan Paul's lap.
Oh, poor guy. That's so embarrassing. And it's just a random chair. Just
He goes, that must be one of Calvin's chairs.
Wow. How do you like that? Yeah, there were a lot of people there. I think Jeff Ross was there. That was surprising.
Is that true?
Yeah.
See,
He was
yeah.
posting all over the place about it. Well, he will go wherever the place is to be.
Right.
Anonymous says she thinks you look better without the hat. Because he has incredible hair. It's not really fair. You really
Not
do.
Sure.
And now, what came out of it, now there's only 2 sexes, male and female.
That's
So
true.
that's good news. Man, you got to appreciate in a way your first day on the job. You're like, here's what's happening. I mean, I've never seen it before in my life.
Yeah, not for me, Dave. I just invested in transgender bathroom signs from China, and I don't know what's going to happen now.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I'm so tentative that first day at work. I'm just trying to
Right.
feel the place out.
Right. Nobody does that
Making
much. Right? Like,
declarations.
yeah. It's like, yeah, we're shipping everybody back.
What time's lunch? Can I go?
Right. Exactly. It's just incredible. And now, I think he made it official. There's only 2 sexes.
That was your Trump?
No, I can't do a Trump at all. I was
Oh.
doing Dave Juskow saying,
Oh, okay.
what it would be, because I don't know what it is. But, and did you hear, Attell told me, when he was talking about the wildfires, he's like, it's just awful. People's, half melted People's Choice Awards. It's just awful. But he had this great joke, and I don't know what he's been using. He just told me on the phone that he said the fires were coming close to the Magic Castle. Have you ever been there?
No, but obviously it's been talked about forever.
Yeah, I've never been there either. And he goes, and he's like, all the magicians, they were like, all right, guys, this is it. We've got to use all our powers.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only heard incredible things about the Magic Castle. It's
Me
silly.
too. It sounds like
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I've never been. I guess you have to be invited.
Yeah, it's
They
an
have a bunch
invite
of those
only.
places there. Is that it?
I think so.
Boy, I don't think I've ever seen that before. Even I know it's like located. Like I feel like it's by the Hollywood Bowl,
It's right near Hollywood. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right?
It's right below the
but I've
bowl.
never seen that before.
It's right below the bowl.
And it's like they have actual magicians in there, right? It's not like a joke. They actually have magicians.
they
in
do
there.
have magicians at the Magic Castle.
I would like that. I like magic shows. I like it very much.
Mm.
I
And I'm not saying this to be funny, and it's not funny. Are you a Harry Potter fan?
am.
Oh, you didn't read the books. There's no
I
way.
did. Well, I read the first 3. I just need to get the 4th, but it was so big and expensive. But I've seen every movie like a dozen times. I was just watching it last night. I was going back and forth between the Notre Dame game and the Ohio State because I bet the over, and I was like, "Come on!" And so then sometimes
Did you get the over?
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Yeah, it worked out. But what do you like the movies? I love the movies.
Never seen one.
Oh, really?
No.
They're very entertaining.
Never read a book. Never.
Sometimes I can watch that first one 100 times because it's fun in the first when you're discovering everything.
Right.
So I like that. I like that it's Chris Columbus. Mostly because
Why? Because he did Home Alone?
Yeah, and I just wrote this book on John Hughes and how he got to Home Alone. Did you know that so Chris Columbus directed Adventures in Babysitting.
Right, which was a big hit.
A moderate hit. He was a young guy.
Well received, let's put it that way.
Yeah. And then he made, because it was well received, he made a passion project, which I believe is called, it's an Elvis movie, Hotel something. What's the Elvis song? Heartbreak Hotel. And people kidnap Elvis, and it bombed. He's like, my career's over. And John Hughes said, I like helping young kids who are in trouble. So he said, hey, would you like to direct Vacation 3? I could hook you up, because he would do that with a lot of people. That's how he didn't want to direct anymore. So he'd get young directors for all that crap he made after that, like Baby's Day Out and stuff.
Right.
He'd get very young directors who first time ones. That other one with Jennifer Connelly. I can't think of it. It's like
the one in the mall.
Yeah.
So
he said to Chris Columbus, would you like to do it? He's like, I'm a Christmas guy. I would love to. This would be incredible. We're talking about Christmas Vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And he met with Chevy Chase at a restaurant, and he went back to his wife. He goes, this is the worst person I've ever met in my entire life. And Chevy Chase, like he is for us, was his hero. Because can you imagine if we're sitting here meeting Chevy Chase and he's just such a dick, and he was like yelling. He's like, you stink. You don't know shit about shit. And I'm probably not even saying it the right way because he was a massive dick. So he goes to his wife. He goes, but I got to suck it up, right? I mean, I got to suck it up. She goes, yeah, you got to suck it up. So he goes, yeah, it's probably my fault. It's probably my fault. Maybe it's half my fault. Maybe I went the wrong way. So they met again, and he said he was an even worse asshole. I told you, scumbag, go fuck yourself. And so then he went to John Hughes, and he goes,
I can't work.
I can't do this. I can't. I'm not trying to be a dick. I appreciate this opportunity. I just can't. He goes, don't worry about it. I've heard this stuff about Chevy. We'll find something else for you to do. And so 6 months passed, and he's like panicked, and he goes, hey, I got something for you. You have a choice of 2 movies. One is called Reach the Rock, which is an awful story. Just about, it's kind of was supposed to be about Jeff Bender from Breakfast Club, grown up and being in jail, like what happened after high school. And he does a cat and mouse game with his jailer.
Right.
And that's the movie. It's just the 2 of them, a battle of wits. Or you can do this movie where this kid gets left home for Christmas, which of course, they didn't know. He's like, yeah, there it is. Yeah, Reach the Rock. See, you do that. Or Home Alone. It's like, well, I'm a Christmas guy. Let me take the Christmas one, because that one sounds horrible. Because he offered everybody that movie, and I was like, I'll take the other one. So they do Home Alone together, and nobody knew. In fact, nobody knew so much that John Candy, they're like, can you be in it? He goes, yeah, I got a day. I can do it. He goes, I can either give you points in the movie or just pay you scale. We don't have a lot of money for it right now. They won't even give us any extra because it was first at wherever. I think it was at Warner Brothers first, and they had to move it to Fox because Warner Brothers wouldn't give them $3 million extra.
Oh, Warner Brothers.
And so they looked like dick, because they were going all in on the Bonfire of the Vanities. I know all this information now. And so anyway, they, so John Candy just took scale. And we think that's what killed him, because he never talked to John Hughes again. But it was all his fault, like that he didn't take the points. off this $1 billion movie at 1% interest.
Is it true that they never talked to
Yeah.
Hughes again?
No, he never. They did not talk again. He was mad at him
because he
I-
made Uncle
for what?
Buck.
You know,
Wasn't
not
Uncle Buck after
insisting-
that?
No, it was before.
Oh,
It was 89. And then I think they did the Great Outdoors. I think this is all before
Mhm.
Home Alone. And then, he was just mad at him. But why? It's all his. He gave him the opportunity, but he was just blaming himself. And then really it killed him. Made him eat, made him stress. You know, because no one knew that whole.
Right.
And then when you read the trade papers, they're like, I think if they had 3 men and a little lady out, and they were like, "This is going to be
was
huge."
that the
'cause
sequel?
The sequel,
Right.
and it was #1 at the box office in 1987. So they're like, the sequel's going to be big, and they all just got beat and they all said, "I can't believe we all got beat by this child, this 8-year-old boy." It's a fascinating story, obviously, because it's just incredible. It's just and so then they remarketed the career opportunities. That's the one. They shot that before. And in Germany, they remarketed it as a grown-up Kevin alone in a supermarket
Frank
with burglars.
Whaley?
Yeah. And they just labeled it grown-up Kevin alone with burglars in a supermarket. And they just changed because
Wow.
it was just so successful. So I love shit like that. And again,
How come
for it in my
Macaulay Culkin doesn't work so much anymore?
I think he didn't want to. So like he did Home Alone 2 and John Hughes wanted to do Home Alone 3 and he wanted everybody together again. And he asked
Who did?
Macaulay Culkin, John
Columbus?
Hughes.
Oh, John
He
Hughes.
wrote it. He wrote Home Alone 3. It's on the credits. I mean, it's weird because you would think he would be like,
Move
I don't want to
on.
do, but he was into it.
Yeah.
And he asked Pesci and Daniel Stern to be in it. And he asked Macaulay Culkin. But in fact, the only reason Macaulay Culkin did too, because apparently his dad was a nightmare, was he's like, I'll let you do it, but he's got to do The Good Son first. It was all this, you know, 'cause he was the biggest star in the world, so he could
I
do
saw
whatever
The
he
Good
wanted.
Son.
Yeah, it was all right. Yep, there it is. Home Alone fucking 3. Believe that? What a mess. What a disaster.
Wow.
John Hughes wrote it. And he wanted everybody back. But Macaulay Culkin was retired.
Who were the?
He was too big. Can you imagine? I mean, he was.
Who were the burglars? Anyone?
I don't think anybody.
I think wasn't French Stewart one of
I
them?
think he might be in 4,
Oh yeah.
but I'm not positive because I know what you're talking about. He's in. It might. Maybe it is. I feel like he's not in 3, but I'm not positive because he was in Third Rock from the Sun at that point.
Apparently Scarlett Johansson's in it.
Yes, she is. Scarlett Johansson's in 3.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no one else of any repute.
Yeah. So, you know, for me, it's the most interesting thing ever.
You know, a big glob of
I wrote a book.
nonsense.
I wrote a book. It should be coming out soon. I don't know when. Meanwhile, the Oscar nominations have been pushed back twice. We're having our Oscar thing on, I believe it's.
Is there
February
any
25th.
momentum on them not having the show?
God, I wish there was, but they would never do that because I wanted them to just not have the Emmys on September 11th. After
Right.
September 11th, they kept pushing back the Emmys. I'm like, stop. No one cares. Don't you get it? And they just kept pushing it back. And when they finally had it, I'm like, oh my God, this is so unnecessary. Until I got nominated for one. And I'm like, really? But there should be pushback. But nah, you got to have the Oscar. The Oscars are the Oscar. The Oscars are great. The only time the Emmys, who gives a shit? The Golden Globes, nobody cares. The Oscars are iconic. They've just been around so long. They're so cool. I mean, just the history of it and everything, you know, everything else
Right.
just sucks. But the Oscars, the only time they didn't have one was World War II, which you love.
Who's
And that's
the,
why they shouldn't have had the Emmys that year. Put a little asterisk, September 11th, you know?
Who's the host for the? Is it Kimmel? No. it's
Yeah,
not.
no, I think it usually is. But again, they've pushed back the nomination. So Thursday they're coming out with the nomination. So they
Oh.
say.
I think it's supposed to be Conan this year.
For
I
real?
think you're right. I think you're right.
Conan?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that. I don't really care for Jimmy that much, so that works for me.
Incredible.
But I don't know any of the movies. But we will have our Oscar predictions right here. I believe, Mike, February 25. Is that correct?
Whatever that Tuesday.
Whatever that Tuesday is with Scotty and Memo. And that'll be super fun. I was downstairs Saturday talking to Val. She still will not make picks. She hates the other categories. And I'm like, no, that's not the way it works. We got to pick all the categories.
Why does
Just
she
got
hate the other
angry.
categories?
I don't know. It
Mm.
pisses me off that she won't join us and take the night off, or at least come up just here for an hour or two. It is driving me crazy. So unfortunately, I wish some ill will on her, and then it happened. I'm kidding. No, Val, I got to see. The poor dear, got harassed at the subway and
I'm
kind of beaten
aware
up.
she was assaulted.
So I saw her Saturday, and she looked great, and I'm glad I got to see her. And I wasn't sure she was coming back to work, so it was nice to see her. One other thing before we move on is that it's interesting. They're talking about the Grammys. That's another thing they were like thinking about postponing, but they're doing that anyway, and no one cares. But they were talking about that. They were talking about the people with the most Grammy nominations that have never won, like Susan Lucci, for the Emmys.
Right,
back
from the
in day.
Emmys.
Snoop Dogg is
Never
the
won.
the person with the fifth most Grammy nominations, never won, tied for 16 nominations with Bjork, if
Sure.
I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's guys that are like, electrical engineers, and also Joe Satriani's on that list too, but with less
Right.
nominations. But Snoop Dogg, that's I feel like he's deserving of something. He's been around a
I
long
think he's
time.
done quite well.
He's done
Come
so
on.
well. No, but I'm saying he really is the epitome of cool. Everybody likes Snoop. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were right about French Stewart being in part 4.
oh, okay, yeah.
Apparently, there's 6 of them.
Oh, yeah, there's 6, and I got them all in my book. There's one that I believe they tried to do with Saturday Night Live cast. I think it's the last one. They tried to make a TV movie with the Saturday Night Live cast, which is a great idea to just kind of take.
Right, kind of put them together.
Yeah, it's the last one, I think, Mike.
Well, then, yeah, because the newest one.
I'll be honest, I didn't know there was any past 3.
Why, no, that's the thing. Nobody knows. Well, after 4, they're straight to video.
Oh,
And then the last one was a TV movie, I
It
believe.
was a Disney Plus original.
Disney Plus with Saturday Night Live people, right?
Yeah, and it's god awful. It's not even fun to watch in a bad way.
Oh, you've seen it?
I tried to.
Wow. That's cool.
But I don't. Let me see.
Anonymous is saying she's lived her whole life. It's never been so bad, talking about New York City subways. So starting last night, our governor here,
Hochul?
Hochul, started putting 2 cops in every car on the subways late at night, which is
That's not possible.
I know, that's what she said. That's the plan. Yeah, Aunt Judy said she traveled subway for 35 years and slept on the subway. I remember Aunt Judy was the first person to take me on the subway. That was when they had the double R train, the double R, the GG.
Yeah, I don't remember any of those.
No, you
How late
you
would
wouldn't
the double? I know, but I was here in like 91 for.
I think the
you.
double R was already gone by then.
Yeah.
It was around the 80s. They just got rid of all the double names.
Yeah.
Anyway, why don't we take a look at our results from last week's NFL? Boy, there was a major upset. Oh, you want to play the thing?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Talking about the Commanders.
Yes. Incredible, right?
Did you? You didn't pick that. Did you?
Well, I do the best I can. So here's our Mike kicked ass. He pretty much won it all. I mean, besides a tie, which isn't fair. Mike picked up a game.
Oh, Mike
And
picked the Commanders.
He picked the Commanders last week. It was very
Wow.
impressive.
Everyone picked the Rams.
And I don't know why. Now that
Maybe
first,
Scruffy went skins.
now with the Kansas City game, we all picked that because we didn't want to bet against the Chiefs, and I really was having
Right.
tough. But I was like, I'm not going to sit here because remember they haven't been covering spreads, but the Texans, whatever they did to get there was weird. The Commanders, I really wanted to take that 9.5, but the Lions had been beating people. It's the exact opposite of Kansas City. The Lions had been beating people by double digits all season. And really with a rookie quarterback, I was at a party on Saturday night, went into the bathroom to do some drug. Sorry, went into the bathroom to look at my phone and couldn't believe the score was like 4. J Dragon just saw Nick open for Colin last night. Fucking hilarious. Look at that. J Dragon X.
Oh, that's
Huh?
nice.
That's awesome.
incredible. Thank you.
Nick is fantastic.
I
Nick
need
is
that.
one of the best stand-ups we know.
Your overall record is ridiculously good.
Yeah, I'm doing good this year. Of course, I had the missed a pick, which was helpful. So then I really thought LA was going to beat Philly, but I think the snow and the weather. You're asking people that play in Los Angeles to go and play in the elements.
Right.
I wish I had known it was going to snow as bad as it did. I would have definitely taken. Well, it wouldn't have mattered. But I really thought LA was going to win the game, and they were going to play. The LA would have had a home game against the Commanders this week.
I thought the Ravens were going to win.
I didn't think. I loved the Bills. I really think they're and. Well, we'll talk about that in a second, but I think it will be. But yeah, let's go to are they only 2 picks this week? Championship Sunday. Very exciting stuff. There it is. I put out with Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, and then you have Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld, right?
Yep.
And then you have the Mahomes and the Swifts. And I put for the Bills, I put OJ. I thought that'd be funnier than the Wings.
Is there any way the Commanders could win?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, the Commanders and the Eagles are in the same division, so they're very familiar with each other. And I don't know what I feel like the Commanders might have beat them once this year, but these are teams that know each other. Wait, did I fuck that up? The Commanders shouldn't be playing Kansas City.
Where do you see that?
Oh, did I fuck it up?
You did.
I fucked it up. Oh no, they're playing I fucked up the. Oh, that's so funny. I was wondering why when I picked it. Oh, sorry. I have Kansas City. I've
doing it wrong doesn't make it fun.
I have them on the left, but all right, Mike, you know what to do. Just cross out all those Kansas City ones.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right, so yeah, I don't know what I was doing this morning. I guess I was getting confused, but I think the Commanders could completely win. And if anything, definitely cover the spread. So I am going to take the Commanders.
The spread's -6.
The spread is -6. I think the Commanders can win this game. Yeah. What does E mean?
Eagles.
Yeah. Oh, right.
My this God. Is our football expert, everybody.
Expert. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so Mike, I'm going to take the W.
All righty.
Washington Commanders this week. Yeah, Mike.
They're playing in Philadelphia?
They are playing in Philadelphia.
I'm going to go Philadelphia.
It's probably smart. Nick, what do you think?
I'm going to pick the Commanders because there's a waiter in the Comedy Cellar bar who's a Commanders fan, and I'm a big fan of Armin. So I'm picking his team, the Commanders, and I think they can win.
Yeah. First of all, I thought there's never been a rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl. I thought Dan Marino had gotten to the Super Bowl as rookie, but it must have been a year removed. So I think he could go, and then I think they get killed if they play the Bills or the Chiefs, But I think they can do this. Happens a lot. The team that's not supposed to be there ends up going to the Super Bowl, then they get destroyed. So it looks like everybody's saying Eagles in the chat. Is that what I'm seeing?
Everyone but Scruffy.
Right, but he's from London. So, wait, you're picking the Commanders off one person?
Right. That was a mistake.
Okay.
So everyone's picking the Eagles?
Everybody's picking the Eagles except me. Okay, so the late game, which should be incredible. I don't mind telling you, I am taking the Bills. I think the Bills are playing amazing. I know their kryptonite is Kansas City, but they're playing great. Kansas City hasn't played great all year. They have gotten very lucky, including being able to play the Texans instead of the Chargers, right? That's a lucky break. They get a lot of lucky breaks. But the Bills have been playing top notch. They beat them at the beginning of the season. I don't know. I'm taking the Bills. You hate not taking Kansas City at home, but they've been playing really weird all season. But I'll tell you, if they make it, that no team has ever won 3 Super Bowls in a row. But I'm going to take the Bills.
I'll take the Chiefs.
Well, of course, that's your team, though.
Yeah.
So Nick will take the Chiefs. What do you think, Mike? You're going to take the Chiefs, huh?
Chiefs as well.
Yep.
How come, Mikey?
What's everybody else saying?
I agree with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be an idiot to bet against the Chiefs at home. I'm taking a chance.
I think the home means everything.
I think you're right. I think if they were in Buffalo,
they're
it would be
even.
different. What is everybody saying? I can't see.
Chiefs overall.
Okay, so pick Chiefs. I'll be the only one that takes the Bills and the Commanders. Look at my Super Bowl. The Bills and the Commanders. I really wanted it to be the Bills and the Lions. And that way, if you had the Bills and the Lions, you have 2 teams that have never won the Super Bowl before, and then it would be exciting. Washington hasn't won since like the 90s, but still. In fact, that'd be, that's my cousin's partner who bought the Washington Commanders. So in his first year of owning them, he turned them completely around. He's going to be a living legend there. Maybe it'll rub off on the Devils. Okay, so that is our picks for Championship Sunday. Very exciting. Then there'll be no game next week. And then, of course, we'll pick the Super Bowl after that. So last time we were together, we played this really fun game where we looked at the comics and tried to remember who they were.
I did. I remember that very well. That was fun.
Right. So
that was with Attell, right?
Yeah, and Russ,
right.
And so I thought we would try another game.
Oh boy.
Of trying to guess. I'll give you the name of either the album or the comedy special, and you have to guess whose it is.
No chance. I'll be good at this, but I'm ready.
That's impossible because the first one, if you don't get this, I'm going to kick you out.
Oh, you didn't say the line, by the way.
Oh, I know. I didn't feel like it today.
Okay.
I thought about it, and I'm like,
Well, Scruffy was disappointed.
Sorry, Scruffy. All right, I'll do it now. So that's it for this week in the league where they play for pay. All right, Mike, let's take a look at the first slide. Here is the name, Nick, of the album. If you can't guess this, I'm kicking you out, and you're a horrible comic.
Rodney Dangerfield.
That's correct. Rodney Dangerfield, No Respect. Now, this album came out in 1980. This was my comedy Bible. And here's the funny thing. I knew every joke off this album. Then I went to go see him.
And he said it, and he did the whole album.
Did the whole album, but I loved it. I still don't understand why comics feel they can't do the material again. I just didn't care. I was looking forward to hearing it. He had new stuff too. He did most of the album. Who cares? Meanwhile, that album won a Grammy for Best Album of the Year, Best Comedy Album. And he beat out Father Guido Sarducci, Monty Python, which was called Monty Python's Contractual Obligation Album, which is hilarious. He beat out Richard Pryor, Holy Smoke, which isn't a classic. I haven't heard of it. And he beat out Gilda Radner, Live from New York, which he thought perhaps they would give it to her anyway. But let's face it, that album is a legendary classic. Let's see if you can guess the next one. And you also have a monitor over there on the other side.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm asking. I'm just saying if I saw you. No, I didn't want you to hurt your neck or anything.
And this was before Rapid Rodney, right?
Oh, yes. This is right around Caddyshack, and that's when he blew up.
That's 1980,
1980.
Right? Wow.
Yeah. All right. I think you'll get this one.
That's Dennis Leary.
That's correct. That is Dennis Leary. It's a television version, first broadcast in the United Kingdom, actually, in 1993. And then they put it on Showtime. I didn't know that. And you know who produced the album?
Barry Katz?
But no, Bill Hicks.
Huh.
I didn't know that. And this is that album that has You're an Asshole, which is kind of legendary, too, that song. So this kind of made him a very wealthy man. And here's the next one I think you'll get.
Yeah, that's Jerry Seinfeld.
That's correct. 1998, HBO. Jerry Seinfeld pretty much trying to be one of the first ones to say, I'm finishing my material
Right.
and we're moving on. Even though Louis the one that just said, I have to do a different show every day now. But yeah, he was completing this material and the crowd, and he was in his heyday. Seinfeld was just going off the air. This was huge HBO special. And it was nominated for a Grammy, lost out to
Chelsea Handler.
no, that's way before her time, I think. Here's who was up, and you tell me who won. Here's who was up that year. This is in 1998. Steve Martin for Pure Drivel.
Wow.
Jeff Foxworthy, Totally Committed. Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner, The 2,000-Year-Old Man in the Year 2000. And the Firesign Theater, Give Me Immortality or Give Me Death, whoever they are. Who do you think beat out Jerry Seinfeld?
Mel Brooks and
that is correct. Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner for The 2,000-Year-Old Man 2.
I listened a lot to the 2,000-Year-Old Man originally.
The first one, we all did.
Yeah, that was.
That's
great.
what made us comics.
Yeah,
there's a couple albums that like.
There was a Woody Allen album that I listened to a lot. And,
that one, this one, the Dangerfield one.
Dangerfield I listened to.
And I have some more coming up, so let's not.
You don't know Firesign Theater, Dave?
No, what is it?
It's. I mean, I don't like them.
Bill Murray and
yeah.
Oh, it is.
It's from Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
It's very famous.
Yeah,
I never heard of it.
You're an idiot.
I couldn't get into it, but I know what it is.
If you weren't.
All right, here's. Let's see if you can guess this one. It's a little tougher.
Go ahead. Wow. I'm going to say that's Bill Hicks.
That is correct. I would never have guessed that. I didn't really know any of his stuff. Bill Hicks, legendary comic who died very young and was known as just a living legend of comedy. I never listened to his stuff. I never understood, but the people in this town think he was the greatest. This was also recorded in London in 93, which maybe had something to do with him doing, Dennis Leary, hey, you should record here too, since he recorded it. So yeah, this was a big album for him. In his heyday. When did he die? Like 2 years later? Something?
I don't know.
Later?
I don't know. He died very young.
Do you know what he died of?
Colon cancer, I believe.
Colon cancer, the easiest thing to catch. You gotta
pancreatic, one of the
pancreatic cure, but colon cancer. That's I don't want anybody dying of that because that's easy to detect as long as you check for it
in your bottom.
You should know this one. Next one.
Go ahead.
Come on, this is classic.
Wow.
If I zoomed out, I feel like you would know it, but I can't yet.
Big bamboo.
It because it's not making sense.
What is the
way
word?
It
Big
looks.
bamboo?
Yeah, big bamboo. No, I'm saying Mike on the net. Like if I
know what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's
Mike. You obviously know it, but would you know it?
I actually don't know this one.
It's a legendary comedy album, which could also, you could say, shaped us as kids. It came out in 1972.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's a huge album,
idea.
and you're just, because it looks funny and you don't think of the name. But when you see what it is, if you go to the next picture, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No, I wasn't a big...
The rolling paper one. Yeah, but whether you're a fan or not, this album had Sister Mary Elephant,
right.
which was like legendary. And of course, it's made out of big bamboo rolling papers that had a rolling paper inside it.
Wow.
Is it not a legendary comedy album?
Yeah.
So they were nominated for a Grammy. They lost to George Carlin that year. They also lost to, here's my favorite, Carol O'Connor, Gene Stapleton, Sally Struthers, and Rob Reiner for All in the Family for some reason. And they lost to Flip Wilson doing his Geraldine album. But that's a classic. This one's a really tough one. Are you having a good time? Are you okay with this?
More than I'm showing.
Yes. That's why I have to ask every once in a while. What do you think? This is a tough one. It's a tough one.
I know this, but I may not know it.
I'll give you a hint in the fact that it's a woman.
God, I don't know.
1993. Who was
Roseanne?
No, but you're close in the sense of somebody who had a TV show and was very popular at this point. From
Thea
this
Fidel.
special. No.
Rosie O'Donnell.
No, I feel Rosie was later.
Go ahead. Who is it?
Go to the next one, Mike.
Ah,
Brett
No,
Butler.
I would never have gotten that.
Yeah, I told you got to put some tough ones in here, just in case.
I remember watching that. It was not a lot.
1990. You remember watching it?
Yeah, because that's when she was big.
Yeah. Well, this
Yeah.
made her big. This Showtime special 93 made her big. She got her TV show from it, and then of course she ruined everything by being a stinking drunk.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I just like doing it from the line from Trading Places. Oh no, Arthur. That it's the guy from Trading Places, the villain from Trading Places, who says pays his family back by being a stinking drunk. I wouldn't know. I'm just a butler. On the other hand, go screw yourself. Paul Gleason, that's his name. Sorry, everybody. All right, the next one. Should know this.
Oh yeah.
Bring the Pain. That's a Chris Rock.
That's correct. 1996, HBO, Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually, that was not nominated for an Emmy, but he came out with an album that exact same year that he won, not the Emmy, a Grammy for, called Roll with the New.
Mm-hmm.
He came out with the album and a special in the same year, and he won the Grammy, beat out Drew Carey in 1998 for Dirty Jokes and Beer, Garrison Keillor,
The great
got canceled.
Keillor.
Bob Newhart in his button-down concert, and Julia Sweeney, God Said Ha. How did he beat her?
I remember the
Oh,
God Said Ha. I don't remember the actual special, but I remember that getting a lot of press.
Me too. Yeah, that's
That
the one
was
who
like
played
a-
Pat, right? Or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about her cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah.
So, but Chris Rock beat them all, but not. There's two specials that year. That's and this one's a classic, really. I mean, it's
Doesn't get bigger than that.
yeah. So to have two albums and one of them be that good, it's quite
Was Bring the
impressive.
Pain the one where it's in 3 different locations?
Oh, I remember that
No.
one, but I don't
No.
think it is. But I remember
The
that.
next
Right, he
one.
did one like Africa,
Yeah.
one at the
Right.
garden, and one
It
somewhere
keeps
else.
going back
Yeah.
and forth.
Yeah,
I can't
I remember that. I liked that idea.
All right, next.
Here's the next one. See if you can guess this one.
Yeah, that's Dane Cook.
That's correct. Dane Cook, HBO, Vicious Circle in 2006, when Dane Cook was the man.
He was at his peak.
I believe he was at his peak. I'll never forget. I had no idea who he was. And it's how just kept talking about him. All of a sudden I see he's hosting Saturday Night Live. And I remember it's one of those things, and I was certainly older at this point, where I'm like, what's making this guy so special? And I couldn't wait to see his opening monologue on Saturday Night Live. I'm like, wow, he really is different. He's doing different stuff. Like, they fooled me by the hype. And then you realize, yeah, he stinks, but it's like, I don't know. I was fooled by the hype. I was like, let me see what's making this guy so special, let alone, what was his thing, not Facebook?
MySpace.
MySpace, the king of MySpace, Dane Cook, Vicious Circle. This next one, maybe you'll know because he's our friend.
Patrice.
Nope. 2007, HBO.
Colin.
No, but go to the next one. It's Louis C.K.
I did not know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because it's not. I don't think it's a classic album, but it is in the sense that it kind of
Right.
that was about the time he was getting going.
Right.
So how about this next one? It's a tough one. 1999 HBO, when he's a big HBO star at this point.
HBO star in 1990.
Yeah, he's got a show on HBO that was very popular,
Dennis Miller.
very kitschy, and he decided to do a
Omar?
stand-up special. No?
Give me the first letter of his first name.
D.
Mm.
Like me. David.
D. David Crosby.
You actually almost said it.
What was it?
David Cross.
No, never remember that.
I like I said, I had to make some of them difficult.
That's hard. Yeah. Good for you, though. That's a good one.
Yeah, it was a very popular show because he was on Mr. Show at the time,
Yeah,
so it was a
sure,
very
of
popular
course.
special, and that was when he was in his prime. And I've always found him extremely funny, very funny. So let's
I
go to
think
the next.
Extremely covered it.
See if you can guess this one.
Black and white. Oh, this is going to be a real. Oh, I know this. This is Dennis Miller.
That's right. Nice. Dennis Miller, 1990, HBO, filmed in black and white for some God knows reason. But
It worked. I remember when I saw that for the first time. It worked being in black and white. Like,
yes, that's the thing. It was a very, he was a great comic. Dennis Miller was a really good.
Mr. Miller Goes to Washington was a huge album for me.
Oh, I never heard that.
I think
He's such a pro, right?
Well, it's an HBO special. It's called Dennis Miller Goes to.
I would watch that because I remember going to Saturday Night Live when he was on, and he would warm up the audience.
Mhm.
And me and Danny Vermont were sitting there going like, Jesus Christ, this guy is so talented at comedy, at stand-up comedy. I don't think we knew because we just knew him from the news, but his jokes were like, I remember he was doing something and I zoned out for a while and then he somehow brought it back. And I'm like, oh my God. And that was just a warm-up for the show. So yeah, he was something else. So yeah, everybody was trying to come up with gimmicks, I guess, back then to make it, especially making it black and white. You make it in 3 different countries, so interesting idea. Let's see if you can guess this one. It's a tough one, really tough one. Mike, you know?
No, I don't. I just like the title.
Doug Stanhope.
That's right. Correct. He got it. Doug Stanhope. He thought about it for a little bit. 2007, taped at the Gotham Comedy Club, then aired on Showtime. Well done. We'll go to the next one. This one was a classic for me. I hated this douchebag.
Yes. Damon Wayans?
Nope. No, it's much worse than that. Much worse than you could possibly imagine. The gag is, and he didn't get it, he was not back with a vengeance. He was a moron who thought he was back with a vengeance. But this special blows. And he had a lot of nerve. Before we show who it is, I will just tell you the setup for this in 2000 because I'll never forget.
Was he good before?
Yes. He was older at this point and it was over for him. I was a big fan of his, as we all were back in the day. And then I'll never forget, I was in Los Angeles and Sarah and I watched this together. We couldn't even believe it. And what he said he was going to do, he's like, I'm doing a live special on HBO and I'm only using material from the headlines in the newspaper that week, which was all bullshit. No.
I don't know.
It's a legendary comic that we grew up with, who used to host the Tonight Show.
Oh, is it? No, it couldn't have been him.
Talked about Philadelphia a lot.
David Brenner.
That's right, David Brenner. Back with a vengeance. Look at this guy, how he feels about himself. The nerve of this guy. Oh, my God. Even the coming attractions, I'll never forget. Sarah and I used to make fun of it all the time because it would be like, hi, Mr. B. Like the opening is like, are you back, Mr. B? Oh, my God. He said, I'll never forget this. He said, only ripped out of the headlines. He didn't do any of this. I was reading this article about this lady today, and it was just awful. It was awful. And then at the end, he gets married to his wife as a rabbi comes down a zip line to marry them. It was awful. One of the worst specials I've ever seen in my life, mostly because he duped us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he hosted Tonight Show many times a week late, many times. I'm talking about like he might have hosted 100 times. He was a living legend. Like Carson loved him.
Yeah.
And then he had his own show for a while. He was on Howard. So Howard was his first guest on his special taking on Johnny when, Joan and everybody's trying to take on Johnny. And oh my God, I remember that first episode. It was a disaster. And Howard did him a favor. Oh, he just sucked at the end.
I remember in the 90s, he was always the butt of jokes, but so I never knew him as a great comedian, but they would always say he was the highest grossing comedian, but also say he was terrible at the same time.
Hardworking, and
he's also one of the first big comics.
Yeah, like the first.
I mean, modern day.
Right. Like I mean, there was George Carlin, and there was David Brenner, and the Carlin was obviously more intense, but they formed the style of the comedy we have today, where it's like I'm going to talk about life and just
Richard Klein did too, but he stinks.
That's true. That's true.
Richard Klein did too, but his specials are unwatchable.
Yes, absolutely. But Klein had a different agenda. But Brenner just, like South pretzels with mustard. I mean, I used to be able to do the imitation. I couldn't. So horrible. All right, so let's see if we can get this as a classic. Who's texting you?
George Carlin.
No, impossible. He's dead. Oh, yes, that's George Carlin. Yeah, but who's texting you?
No one. Just checking.
You're up to something suspicious, and I'm going to find out. Yes, this is George Carlin's legendary 4th album. So he made this album in 1972. It's a classic, the 7 words you can't say on television. That's legendary, which became this album marks the first time Carlin used the word fuck in any of his recordings. 1972. Catalina says I sound like a crazy girlfriend. Who are you texting? You're right, Catalina. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I love Nick the way you do. So this album,
funny way of showing it.
So this wasn't nominated. He had another album this year, just like Chris Rock, called AM and FM, and that won the Grammy that year, or FM and AM. So he had 2 albums in 1972. And this, of course, just the 7 words you can never say on television. Absolute, legendary bit, right?
It's a great bit.
Let's see if you can guess this one. You should be able to guess it just from the title.
Oh, yeah, that's John Panette.
That's right. Filmed at the Montreal Comedy Festival. Yeah, this guy was great. I remember Attell used to say he used to that he talked to the owner, like sometimes he'd follow him in a town, just like you would follow somebody at the and the owner would say, well, the week before we had John Panette, and he just made us drive in the Taco Bell every night.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, and Attell would be like, did he get a free pair of pants when he would go there? Or him being dead is the only thing that makes sense. You can't get this is up with No Respect, I think.
Yeah, it's Steve Martin.
That's Steve Martin in 1977, an absolute classic. And of course, it did win the Grammy Award for Best Album of the Year. Beat out George Carlin on the Road. Beat out, this isn't a hard one to beat, Ernie Kovacs. He's almost dead. I think he was dead at that point. Beat out Lorne Michaels and Saturday Night Live cast members in a Saturday Night Live album, which is kind of funny since that's how he became famous.
I wonder if that's a rare album now.
I was thinking about that too. I wonder what's on that. And he beat out Richard Pryor, an album called Are You Serious? So Steve Martin on his way. In fact, I think he might have won the next year too, but I'm not positive. Let's see if anybody can guess what this is. I'll open it up to the chat room. Let's see. I think
I know what it is.
You do?
It's embarrassing.
What are you talking about? This is one of my favorite albums. This is Catalina's favorite album. You want to go to the next picture, Mike?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's Nick Griffin's album, everybody.
Wow.
Well, I'm trying to promote the album.
That's good.
It's Nick Griffin's, everybody. Filmed right downstairs at the Fat Black Pussycat in 2023. I am positive Catalina has this album, and Marcy, all the people that love you here. Anonymous knew what it was.
Oh,
Anonymous guessed it before we put it up there.
I thought Vicky might
Well
know
done,
what it
Anonymous.
is.
Thank you. And Catalina goes, of course, it's my favorite album. So, listen.
Thanks, Catalina. Love you.
How am I?
The SNL album you can get for like $25.
What'd you say?
The SNL album you can get for like $25.
Oh,
Yeah.
Can you show a picture of it? Do you have a picture of it? What it looks like? I don't remember it at all. Feels like at that point I would have definitely remembered SNL putting out. I was obsessed.
I know.
TV shows used to do that. Laugh-In had a few.
Well, that's what I was saying. They were up. All in the Family had one. I'm sure Laughing makes sense. I don't like All in the Family. What the hell did they do? I got to see that album now. Let's see what this is.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's kind of a famous picture.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Photo shoot.
And that's the first catch. Chevy was already gone.
Oh yeah, Bill
Chevy's on
Murray's
the
right
right.
there.
Yeah, right. That's the original cast before Bill Murray got there.
Oh, Bill Murray came the second season.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came second, right? Not third. Yeah, second season. He was right there. Yeah. Yeah, he replaced Chevy Chase. That's why the alleged big fight when Chevy Chase came back to host.
God, sometimes I go back and do a deep dive on SCTV, and it's so good, it's ridiculous.
That is my favorite.
That is so. I think that's
all time.
closer to your sort of taste, not taste.
I
But,
worshipped when I discovered that.
all that early, like the Woody Allen stuff they did.
When Rick Moranis would be Woody Allen at
and the
what about
Battle of the PBS?
Rick
Stars?
Moranis was incredible anyway, but
that was great.
what about once when they were doing a Death of a Salesman? They were doing live because they were doing that. NBC was bringing back live TV, and they were doing Death of a Salesman starring Ricardo Montalban as Willie Loman, Eugene Levy playing Margaret Hamilton as his wife, Andrea Martin, more coffee, dear, because remember she's doing the Maxwell House, and Rick Moranis as George Carlin in one of the greatest impressions, and because it wasn't just the impression, it was also the dialogue.
Yeah,
and he's got a notepad with him. He goes, "Dad, I've been trying to work on my comedy, and this red wine, this green, there's red wine and white wine. I missed it. There's no green wine. Grapes are green, man." Like it was incredible. And Eugene Levy, I've been fantasizing about life. It was, and then a light fixture because it live falls on Margaret Hamilton. I never laughed so hard in my life. I remember Friday nights, it was on 12:30, and I'd go over and drink beer with my friends, and I'd slapping the table. It was that was
great
that was
John Candy character, Yellow Belly,
Johnny LaRue, Yellow Belly, when he would shoot kids in the back, right? They were doing the Tower to the
kids in the back,
yeah, and he's like, or Polynesian Town, the Chinatown ripoff. I mean, there was so much good stuff, and of course, the best.
Who was the vampire?
Joe Flaherty.
Joe Flaherty, who just died.
Yeah.
Joe, think about this. Spielberg was clearly a fan of SCTV, which we know because when they do the Merv Griffin show, they were making fun. Steven Spielberg had just come out with Close Encounters, the special edition, where they added an extra 7 minutes on. So they were mocking him. And they said, "We've added an extra 7 minutes onto the Merv Griffin show where we're going to see inside the spaceship." We'll be right back. And so they do it, and they fix it up with 2001, and they send Steven Spielberg into space.
Oh, that's right.
And he thought it was hilarious. So much so, if you ever watch, I told the kids in my class this, if you ever watch Back to the Future 2,
Right.
Joe Flaherty is in it doing his SCTV character that he used to do. He comes in as the Western Union guy at the very end of the movie, and he goes, "Excuse me, are you Marty McFly?" And, and I'm like, this is going to be hilarious because I worship Joe Flaherty. I know what he's doing. And he's like, "Yeah, I got something for you." And then he puts his hand in his pocket, which they used to do in SCTV all the time. They'd put it in their jacket pocket like they're going to pull out a gun, but he pulls out the Western Union thing. He goes, "This letter, we've had it for 100 years." And remember, he always goes like, "Well, a lot of us at the place didn't think you'd show. I guess I lost." I mean, it's like, he should not be in that movie, like, because it takes away from the movie. But Spielberg worshipped SCTV as much as we did. Anyway, what's the next one, Mike? Let's see if you can guess this one. It's more newer.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Louis?
Nope.
Nope.
It's from 2017. It was a Netflix filmed in Boston, and somebody we really respect who is now dead. It's a tough one. I didn't know it myself.
I know that's because that's how I worked with them when he did this.
Oh, is that right?
One of the times. It's one of the,
Oh, Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald. How did you get? What made you finally guess? Because of what he
I
said.
remembered Hitler's dog.
So wait, what, Mike? You worked with him?
when he was in San Antonio, I got to open for him,
Oh, how
did?
exciting!
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
and the joke that he's in the middle of is the joke he does on Gotham when he hosted the Live at Gotham. Like, if you watch this special, he's like, it starts in the middle of a joke.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Hey, did he do the? I don't even know if he did it again, but I was in somewhere in Canada. Maybe it was at the Nest, and I said, "How was Norm Macdonald?" He was at a club that I had played, and they said, "Oh, he's great." He goes, "But he would do this joke every night. The difference between not Pepsi, 7-Up and Sprite, and no one liked it. And they said it went on forever and ever, and he would just like, in the face of all this indifference, just go on
Just
and
doesn't
on.
care.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
yeah.
He didn't do that in San Antonio.
Um,
No, take that back. The first show, I think he did do that joke because he didn't like the first crowd. I think he did because the first show was like weird because he didn't like them. But he did a lot of
that's
weird
the
stuff.
best. He didn't like, so that's what Attell would always do. Attell would always, if he didn't like the crowd, he's like, "All right, you know what? Now I'm just going to give you the midget jokes. Screw you," which you're not allowed to do anymore.
Yeah, they ordered
You're
from
allowed.
Cheesecake Factory, and for some reason they got the chicken marsala. And I just remember the memory of him eating it and going, "This tastes like vomit."
Norm said that?
Yeah. But he still ate it all. So.
Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, that's Patrice.
That is Patrice O'Neill, 2011 Comedy Central, filmed 9 months before his untimely death. Let's go to the next one. Look, we were just
Robert Klein.
It is Robert Klein. Well done. 1973, an absolute classic album. This is the one with the Our Gang bit. Remember? Remember there was always like 20 minutes of music, and then Diana, "I don't want to go to school today." God, this was a classic. He looks really cool. It was nominated for a Grammy, but lost out to Cheech and Chong. Not the album we were talking about, a later one.
Right.
Also lost out to George Carlin, lost out that year. Bill Cosby, Fat Albert album, lost out. And David Fry doing Richard Nixon lost out on that.
Clown Jewels, the people who put out...
and National Lampoon, too, that Lemmings. What about Clown Jewels?
The ones who put out Gilbert's album?
Yeah.
Their YouTube channel has Robert Klein's first special on.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to see that Our Gang one again. I loved that bit. I thought it was so funny.
Sarah Silverman.
That's right. It's Sarah Silverman. Well, I try to put our contemporaries in here.
You're trying to promote your friends.
I am not. It was just a big deal for her in the sense of 2005. This kind of started. I mean, now I just was with her taping a new Netflix special, so this is the first one. Anyway, we can go to the next one, which you just, I know that's a tough one. You just mentioned it was one of your greatest albums of all time.
Woody
That's
Allen.
a shitty name. That's right. 1979.
That's the album.
Absolute classic. A compilation. It's not an actual, like, it's weird.
Yeah.
I wonder if it even had anything to do with it, but boy, right? For if you wanted to be a comic and you're our age, around our age, this was the album. This has the classic Moose story. It's got everything.
I hit a moose.
Yeah. But the joke's on them because it's restricted.
Sweat.
Just a couple more. I think you'll be able to get this one. It is a classic. Hard to.
Yeah, that's Stephen Wright.
That's right. I Have a Pony. His debut album in 1985. The
what
incredible.
Is he without shoes on?
I don't know.
That's weird.
So it was nominated for his debut album. Was nominated for a Grammy. He lost out to in 1987. Do you want to take a guess?
1987. Dice?
No, it's somebody who was so the hugest person that you could be on television.
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby. Those of you with or without children, you'll understand the name of the album. He lost out. Bill Cosby beat out George Carlin again. Rodney Dangerfield with the Twist and Shout album with Bob and Ray and Bette Midler. But Stephen Wright at least got in there. And I think this is the last one, which is a legendary one, but a weird one.
Yeah, that's
Remember the guy's name?
wasn't Bob Newhart, was it?
No.
Who did it? I know exactly. It's a whole family. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
right.
it's the first family, the president of the United States, but I don't know
Who?
who it is. I don't
Which
know.
president?
Nixon?
No,
I don't know.
no. This is a legendary story. His name is Von
Gerald-
Meter.
Gerald Ford?
No, Kennedy.
Okay. No,
So
I didn't.
this is the classic album that Lenny Bruce got on stage the night Kennedy was shot and said, well, I guess Von Meter's career is over. It's a legendary story. This album was the largest and fastest selling record in the history of the record industry, selling at more than 1 million copies per week for the first 6.5 weeks in distribution, and remained at number one on the Billboard for 12 weeks. And by January 1963, sales reached more than 7 million copies.
Right.
It was huge. It won the Grammy for Best Album, beating out Elaine May and Mike Nichols and Alan Sherman, My Son the Folk Singer, which was a legendary album. And it actually won Album of the Year. It beat out Tony Bennett, I Left My Heart in San Francisco.
Wow.
It beat out Stan Getz. It beat out Ray Charles. I mean, this album was huge. And, 9 months later, it was over. This guy was never heard from again. He just got totally screwed.
Wow.
Bad luck. He never resurfaced. And that, Lenny Marcus.
Lenny Marcus.
That Lenny Bruce joke is just absolutely epic. Everybody was talking about it because, everybody's like, what's he going to say? What's he going to say? He's the fucking Attell of our day. You couldn't you see Attell coming up with that kind of brilliance when everybody's like waiting? Jeez.
I have seen Attell come up with that kind
Exactly.
of
Like on September 12th, 2001, Attell had material that made you feel better, or at least got us through stuff. And there it is. Lenny Bruce, perfect thing to say. Kennedy had just been assassinated. Everybody's upset. You say, well, I guess Von Meter's last day of work is, that's, if you're in that Comedy Cellar, in that place where it's like a safe place and you're just in the Village in New York, you're a hip person, and you got somebody like Attell or Lenny Bruce who's sitting there on a day that's the nation is mourning, and you still fucking know how to make people laugh. You are the one.
Right.
You are the chosen one. You are the fucking Neo of the Matrix.
Funny.
It's incredible. Attell, even with the wildfire shit. I mean, he's just so fucking talented at that shit. That's something that would be the last place I'd want to be. It's the Cellar on September 12th, 2001. He's so good.
He's the king.
Venafito said, good trivia, the first family. Thank you. Anonymous.
No, that's
show's very
Vicky.
educational. That's what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a little educational, but a little fun, right? It was fun, right?
It was a lot of fun.
It's great
I did
talking-
better than I thought I would.
Yeah, I told you would. Like, because we know we had contemporaries and then the ones we grew up on,
Right.
so it was good. And I'm glad you guys liked it too, because I love this kind of stuff. This is perfect for this show. This is where a lot of these comedians started here, not at the Cellar, but in this neighborhood. And that's why we're here, because we were obsessed with doing things like they did. And, it's just fun to talk about. That's the best part. It's like, yeah, can you guess? But then we like to talk about the albums and how they have an effect
Right.
on us and stuff. And I'm always, I'm fascinated by you, because in the sense that I know what made me and Attell, like comedy, get into comedy. But
Why? What do you think Dave was of influence by?
well, I just know he was, because we were friends for so long. I think we were just influenced by these same people, the Bob Newhart and the Woody Allen. I was just like you are, but because you grew up in such a
Kansas.
strange middle America place, I just
Right.
wasn't sure if you had the same upbringing. Like, because of the way you do comedy, in the sense of just it's very dry and this way. Did you like that Bob Newhart album a lot?
I liked the
it feels
Bob Newhart. I
example.
really loved that Woody Allen album, and I also liked the Carl Reiner and the Mel Brooks 2000.
Well, see, because you appreciated as we didn't maybe understand it as much, writing.
right,
Those Woody Allen jokes are crafted
right,
in a way that if you're not smart, you could never come up with that.
Right.
And the 2000, well, there you go, the 2,000-year-old man. I mean, it's all writing. It's all in the writing. You know,
It's also kind of
better than the
silly,
joke.
and so I do like silly stuff.
Yeah,
Not, I don't know what the
but it's
correct-
great. Carl Reiner is the perfect straight guy. Mel
Right.
Brooks with his accent was so funny, and the dialogue was just so funny. What if there was a 2,000-year-old man? So that's so different than the Woody Allen one, but it's also in the writing
Right.
and the structuring of the material. The Woody Allen one is just brilliant. I mean, you have to be a little bit smarter. I mean, even the ending of that moose joke, I never understood it. I read it in the Steve Allen book. What's restricted mean? You know, and it's like, I mean, you had to be a little bit smarter to get his
Right.
material and to leave on that. But the joke's on them because it's restricted. And then I hear people going crazy. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I
What's,
don't know.
what,
And then you want to look it up and
Yeah.
find out more and be like, wow, that's so cool. So everybody knows what that is.
yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, it means that they don't really care for Jews. They think they're a bit much. So, anyway, wow, this was a great show. I
This
had
was a
such good
great
time
show.
doing
I
it.
think one of the best.
And now we're going to have a little dinner together
With
We're gonna
you, me,
celebrate,
Russ Maneve, and
Dave Attell.
the great Dave
him
Attell.
And maybe he'll let us pay for him this time. You know,
Oh, we'll be paying.
I know. That's why I'm prepared because Dave does not let us pay even for all of our other birthdays. But we cannot make him pay for his own birthday. He's going to try, and I think we should let him. No,
I know you do.
Well, just because he's so insistent all the time. But no, this one we have to pay. So
I think it would make him feel better. Not
I
necessarily.
don't know whether it makes him feel better or not. I really don't know.
That's maybe you're right. What do I know?
It doesn't matter, but
I have no
it'll be
convictions
fun.
at all.
And Mike, you did a great job today too.
Great job, Mike.
Thank you.
Filling in all the gaps, and it's so cool that you got to open for Norm Macdonald.
That is
That's,
really
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah, 10 years ago, I think.
Yeah, but whatever, right? I mean, I never did that, and Nick never did it, so that's pretty fucking cool.
I'm voting for Nick too.
Right. Well, that's
Wow,
awesome.
nice.
I'm just saying that's awesome too. But I'm just to open for your
I opened for George Carlin.
see that's incredible.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever opened for like an idol.
Yeah.
When did you do that?
I don't remember the year, but it was the last special ever shot. He was practicing it at the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, California. And I was regular down there, and they let me open 2 shows for him.
Oh, did he say anything to you?
He didn't watch me. He was in his room going over his notes, but he did, as I was leaving the venue, he stopped me and he said, "You opened for me, right?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm so sorry I couldn't let you in."
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, he was really sweet.
That's all you want to hear, right?
Yeah.
I have 2 people that I know that they went on, I guess, before Richard Pryor.
Mm.
One of my friends, Steve O, who's not from Jackass. This other guy.
I know Steve O.
Steve
He's
O.
from upstate, right?
No, he's from Long Island,
Oh, Long Island.
and he's been a comic since the '80s, and we are friends.
Still
for
friends?
40 years. Yeah. And so he told me once he was at the Improv, I guess, and Richard Pryor came on after him, and Richard Pryor just comes up to him and says, "You are one funny motherfucker." And
To
he's like,
Steve O.
yeah.
Wow.
And he said that really meant a lot to him. But then I heard Roseanne telling the exact same story. And I'm like, I told people he was probably so fucked up. That's what he would just say.
Right. And he
Which, of
thought-
course, it works every time. So it doesn't matter.
Sure.
But that makes me so. I mean, I've never heard a bad word about George Carlin.
I haven't either.
But that's even better that he was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm just working on this thing." And
yeah.
that's nice. That's all you want to hear. You just because we hear like we're talking about Chevy Chase and he's our hero and what a dick. He was at Gilbert's album release party and he was a dick then. And Judy Gold and Frank were angry at him.
Right.
And I'm like, you can't be that angry at him. You invited him and you know how he is.
Right.
That's on you. But it's a bummer when your heroes turn out to be. That's why Gilbert's greatest joke. I was talking to Baba Booey on Saturday. We were at a party together.
No, you weren't.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask you
It
about
was awesome.
Howard.
And we were talking about Gilbert because I was with his wife, and he's like, "Well, the best was when he would do Groucho, later on in life." This was my favorite invitation because I always say, "Don't meet your heroes," and he met Groucho, and Groucho was very old. Howard used to die over this because he'd be like, "So Groucho, I understand you've been fishing."
Hmm.
Yes. It sounds fishy to me. Like whatever. But you were going for a better imitation. I just knew the dialogue you gave.
That's so fun.
Oh,
I've been listening to so much Howard with Gilbert coming in to do the news with Howard at the end of the show on YouTube. And it's some of the funniest. And I mean, I'm obviously been around for a while. I'm doubled over laughing, and I've heard it 20 times. I'm doubled over laughing at Gilbert Godfrey. And the funniest part to me, though, is where he won't say something nice about his kids or wife.
He was the real deal. And
I know he loved them, but it's just so funny because he's just so not forthcoming about it.
That's the thing. And if you knew him off camera, he was a gentle soul,
right.
And then but in front of the mic he's never gonna be that. He's never gonna give you anything that you want, so it was kind of great that we got to meet him in both ways.
Yeah.
But wait, what was the so when Howard decided I want to start having A-list celebrities on, the new girl that came in got rid of him.
Marcy?
Yeah. And they never had him back. They got rid of him. He was like, look, if you want to do this, you got to get rid of Gilbert, which pisses me off to this day. But he got what he wanted. I mean, let's face it. He really did. Howard changed, and he got what he wanted. He got the A-listers. He got, Cher and Madonna and the President and Springsteen,
Pearl Jam,
all because he got rid of Gilbert.
Sure.
Unfortunately,
Metallica,
it's a bummer, but
yeah,
there was like 3 people he got rid of. I don't know why. Well, I don't know. I still feel like couldn't he just told Gilbert but I guess you can't curtail him, or I guess, or contain him. But he was such a wonderful guy, and he does have great kids. I was just talking to them on Saturday, and she's obviously done a really good job at this, but he was a really good dad, and these kids are going to be okay. So they've been through a lot, let alone COVID and their dad dying. Yipes. Anyway, not to leave on a solemn note, because it's a good thing. They're all good kids, and Gilbert was the man.
Gilbert was the man. I got off stage once at Caroline's, and I got to the back where the green room was, and Gilbert was standing against the wall, and I go, "Oh, hey, Gilbert, how you been?" And he's like, he just gives me this blank look. He was with his wife. And I go, "Oh, we worked together like 5 times." And he's like, sorry, I don't remember anyone.
Well, yeah, he never remembers anybody. So his wife would always say, "Gilbert, how could you not remember?" She used to add it in, but he didn't know who I was either. And we hung out like 20 times.
Right.
He was just a mess, but a good mess. A good.
Yeah, no, he was a hoot. It was an honor to be ignored, or not ignored, but forgotten.
My nephew to this day will never forget. I used to have him on my birthday shows here at the Cellar, and it's so funny. He was so frail. We'd walk him on stage holding his hand, letting him up, and he, like Groucho almost. And then as soon as he got to the mic, "Dave Juskow fucked me in the ass." And then my nephew was like, he was like 14. He's like, "Yeah."
He'll never forget that. No, yeah.
Incredible. But anyway, Mike, where are you going to be this week?
I don't have any shows this week. So.
Oh, that's okay. What about you, Nick?
I'm not anywhere this week.
You're not going to even be here?
I'll be at the Cellar, on Saturday for 2 shows.
There you go. I will actually be at the Broadway Comedy Club on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, I go there once a month now.
Cool.
Keep it together, because I have friends that keep calling me like, "I need you to open for me." I get last minute calls. "I need you to open for me." And I'm like, "What? You couldn't tell me 2 days ago?" So whatever. Anyway, folks, thank you so much. I think it was a really quality show. I had a good time. I was so glad Nick was here. Mike did a great job today. And we'll be right here, right, Mike? Yep. It will be right here next week. Don't know who the guest is, but I promise you another quality show. We'll see you next time, everybody. Have a great week. Why does he always do that?